Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Monday, the 11th of March, 2024, just after 6:10 p.m. Central Time. So tomorrow's a big day. You're going to get some reports, but the big report's going to be the CPI. Now, in my research, I cover what the estimates are. I cover in detail in my reports what the market is looking for on month-to-month CPI, annualized CPI, core CPI, obviously core month-to-month and where you're at. I don't cover that all here. Obviously, there's a reason that I have my research, and it's not to give it all away free on YouTube, and I won't do that. National Federation of Business Indexes comes out at 5 o'clock. Redbook Group comes out at 7:55. API comes out. Now, the anticipation of the CPI is one of the largest that we've seen in a long time. If you look at the volatility, puts, calls, how traders play those, you've got about a 0.09% expectation that the market will move near a percentage point, a full percent, off this report. Obviously, if you don't do that, the traders that are placing those one-day bets get themselves in trouble. Those that have them on, they're trying to see if the market will exceed that very, very quickly. That is probably where the market is, trying to focus itself right now. Today, if you were looking, and I covered this in detail tonight, the White House came out with its budget for 2025, let's call it. Where do you see the tax increases that President Biden is looking for? There's no mention that I saw of cuts in spending. Everything is an increase. It could be from Medicare tax. Capital gains taxes go up dramatically. Corporate stock buybacks get taxed heavily. I cover all the things that they're trying to do. It would take a complete sweep of Congress and then for all the Democrats to feel the pressure from Democrats in their home states, be it senators, congressmen, to go ahead with this plan. When I tell you it's heavy taxation, you don't even understand what I mean by the word heavy. It is wild how much the taxes that the president is looking to take up. And I'm going to repeat, what I read doesn't show where the cuts are. How he gets down to a smaller budget is via taking more money in the taxes and saying, well, look, we reduced the amount of the deficit because of that. Okay, if you think that'll fly, great. I can only imagine that the Trump organization is going to go wild with this proposal. Again, it's a proposal. You're pretty flat in the energy markets right now. I would expect bonds and notes to be very flat going into the CPI number. Currencies not going much of anywhere. I think what everybody's going to do right now is twiddle their thumbs, and then just prior to the release, you'll probably see a lot of markets put on volatility right away. And then the report comes out. It's just how these things work. And then by the time it happens, because the algo traders have these high-speed lines that go right in, it's just gone on you for a brief moment. And then wherever it stabilizes, it stabilizes. Whether it's up or down depends on what the CPI report says. And neither you nor I know what that is at this point. You can see you're fairly flat in the on a weekly basis, which was the close of business, and right now in the S&P. When we look at the daily chart, you can see how the market is consolidated here in the 5130 area, roughly. The trend is still certainly up, higher lows, higher highs. You've got the support at the market at 5091, and if that were to give way, then back to the 5,000 level would be where the market would go. Did I say 50,000? I hope I didn't say that. But 5091 and then the 5,000 level on that. What about momentum? You lost the bullish momentum going into the report. You lost your embedded reading. Just show it to you right here. And the way that I teach charting, when that happens, I think that the smart traders on the close today probably came out of the market, or they're doing so right now. Now, what does smart mean? I haven't been the smartest guy in this market. Smart means if it's going to re-embed, it's got to go up rather dramatically, probably towards at least the 5187 level. And if it drops from here, as I said, 5090, the first support, and under that, the 5,000 level. It's going to be a wild day. When we come over to the NASDAQ, Back here, you can see you're correcting an overbought condition. You're void of a trend in the sense that your market has made a higher high and a lower low. It keeps hitting the upper Bollinger Band, which is not a sign of weakness. But you've seen that the mega cap stocks, if you want to call them that, they've been under the correction mode. Even Nvidia has been down hard from Friday when it peaked out, and the market has given back a chunk. It's all relative. The market's gone up so much, it can afford to give back chunks. When you're looking at the Dow, you have the higher high, lower low, just drifting here. The market had been overbought. It has corrected that. Now it's waiting to see what the new event is. And believe me, I mean new event. You've got your upper band, 39,262. The support band, 38,520. Seasonally speaking, by the way, the S&P traditionally rallies from this part of the year well into the April timeframe. So I'm just giving you where the seasonals come in. When you look at the Russell, higher lows, higher highs, but momentum turned itself down. Support's back at the 18-day average of closes at 2052, but we need to see the report to have an idea what's going to go on. In the bonds and notes, well, in the 10-year note, you are overbought. The trend is certainly up. If the market clears the 111.08 area, that breaks the uptrend and puts the market back into the potential of the 110 zone for support. When you look at the 5-year note, again, overbought market. It has stayed over for about 6 days now. The 100-day average of closes, that's a pretty good job. On the way down, will that number offer the support's the big question. The further support comes just under it at the red line, the 18-day average of closes. In the dollar index, we got oversold going into the report. Now, there's another event for the dollar that comes up on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, the European Central Bank, their reserve ratios that the banks put with them and that they have to pay interest on and so on and so forth. The question is it going to go up? And there's a big debate. You heard Ms. Lagarde talking about it last week. They're supposed to make decisions this coming Wednesday, and it will impact the market one way or the other in terms of the euro versus the dollar. Remember, the euro currency and the dollar index, it makes up 40% of it. In the euro, you can see where the market's been fighting at the upper Bollinger Band. Momentum has turned down. You have a lower low, higher high. Again, it's a big day on Wednesday for that market. In the British pound, this is a market that really took off and surprised, I think, a lot of traders as it was able to ride the Bollinger Band to higher levels. Today's the first day back under it. It had a couple of days in a row, as you could see, over it. And now the question is, can it get back to any support down here at the 126.95 level? And remember, everything tomorrow gets affected by how the U.S. dollar reacts to the CPI report. I mean, flip a coin which way that report's going to come out and the reaction to it. Then in Bitcoin, as I said, traders are just plowing into Bitcoin, Ethereum, ever since it was made a legit asset by the SEC by allowing ETFs. This market has just attracted way more money than most professionals thought it was going to get without much of a pullback. I mean, you had one pullback and then the market went. It's proven itself to be an asset class. In Brent versus WTI oil, you can see you're just trading at the differential here at the 18-day average of closes. And when you look at the energies, you're caught in this sideways action temporarily. Now, nothing's happened so far in Ramadan, which is a good thing. We know there's a food barge that is trying to leave out of Cyprus. It takes 3 days to get to Israel. I know it's been held up 2 to 3 days already. It hasn't left port. We'll see what happens. And President Biden and President Netanyahu are certainly having words between themselves as to what the next stage of everything is. Netanyahu is adamant he's going in for Hamas, and Biden is adamant you're not going to kill another large amount of people if you go in for that. So big problems. When we look at WTI crude, you've got yourself fighting at the upper Bollinger Band, but finding support at that 18-day average of closes. Gasoline, I think this is where the market is basing out. Now, some traders might even consider, hey, I want to play this game for the summer. I don't know that you buy May or you go in, you pay up for option strategies. That's up to you. I'm waiting on the futures to come alive and give that signal and haven't seen it just yet on gasoline, which is right here. This chart was one of, I got it late. I forgot to fix that the other day. This is not gasoline. Yes, it is. That's Rebob gasoline. And this one is May WTI crude and then the gasoline. Got confused there myself. Okay. And then today, when I'm looking at these other markets, especially the nat gas to me threw out sell signals today. I would be probably wrong on this if it got itself back over here, the 196.10 level. But I think that the market's got a shot here at trying to come down a bit more. It is oversold, so be a bit cautious if you're looking at this. And by the way, guess which chart this is? This is natural gas, and this is the one I have labeled wrong. I'm not going to fix this just yet. I'm not going to take this off the screen. I'm going to fix it right now. Mentally, I knew one of these was there, and that was the problem for the market. But as you can see, the market is underselling pressure. Can the market get itself into that 173.40 level? What's working against nat gas right now is it's that funny part of the year. Much of the United States is no longer needing big draws on heat. But we're not into the air conditioning season. So you get less demand for the nat gas in theory. Sorry I got screwed up in that sequence. I'm going to fix that right now. Want to remind you that I and Linn Associates will be writing on what the CPI does, what we think it's going to meet. There'll be oral commentaries. If you go to our charting service, if you've been able to try that, if you're a customer of ours, go into it, the QT, and you'll be able to hear comments on it, what the reports look like. We have David Hightower that reports on this. There'll be a bunch of us writing about it in the morning. It's a very big report, so take your shots very carefully going into it. That's all that I can warn people. Whenever you see a big number coming out, I like to stand back. It's like a train coming down a track. Can you jump fast enough to get out of the way if you're wrong? Often you can't. I think you realize that. So how do you get all this research? You go to iraepstein.com. And at iraepstein.com, go to free offers or move your cursor up here. And last, you can always call my staff. Sorry I got those charts screwed up. I'm going to fix it right now. You take care.